None of these things that we're talking about today in isolation are really enough. They're all pieces in the jigsaw, and that's something that you've really got to remember when you're looking at trying to develop a career or of an act internationally, or you want to sell your catalogue internationally. It's all pieces of the jigsaw. Everything that you do here in Ireland or in the UK, generally, you have to replicate in every market around the world. So you've really got to think that when you're doing it.
New this year is this our new South by Southwest trade show, which will run from Monday the 14th to Thursday the 17th, and that's what we're calling it now, their exhibition for creative industries, and it's a 4-day exhibition uniting the 3 South by Southwest conferences, film, interactive and music, all under one roof. So that gathering, I think, of the creative industries will provide an amazing opportunity to make new connections and to look forward to the future of new media and entertainment. The festival side, yes, we've got that mix of emerging talent, buzzy bands, and very popular and established artists from all over America and all over the world. So it's a very heady brew, and at any one time there would be about 100 bands playing, at the same time. So, how are people going to know about you, and how are they going to come to you? It's one of the big challenges and in a way, inspirations of South by Southwest is that, unless you really screw up, you will have an audience. But at the same time, we want you to work at getting an audience. So it's not as though there's a given that there will be an audience. So the 13,000 delegates who attend South by Southwest are people who are, in the live music sector. So they're thinking about, finding bands and booking bands. South by is a great place for discovering new trends in music and what's the next big thing. I often see where some of the promoters and agents who go to South by, they'll be programming, say here in Belfast or in cities around the UK, they'll be programming the cool bands that they picked up at South by Southwest. Our showcase applications, we had 700 from the UK. We offered 276 showcase slots to UK bands, and we had 135 UK showcases. So if you do the math there, you can see that about 140 UK bands dropped out. They were invited and they didn't come for one reason or another. Either their visas didn't come through, they couldn't afford it when they, when push came to shove. Some bands their careers are taking off here on this side of the water, so they stay put, and the timing isn't right for them. Some bands break up. There's a whole variety of reasons why bands don't make it. The timing of when they drop out is the key thing for us, because the later it is and the closer to the event, the harder it is for us to program, because we only program the event based on confirmed responses. So if a band, drops out in January, that's okay. But if they drop out in February, we're just about to go with the program, and that can be a bit of a pain. So if you are in that position ever, don't sit on it. Do let South by know pretty quickly. 2000, I'd say. The last 10 years really have been where the British have really shone at South by. And everybody knows about them. There's a very strong presence. It's a very strong interest in the bands that are playing from the UK. What was interesting, I suppose, some of the Northern Ireland bands, you actually have your cake and eat it too, because you can participate in music from Ireland showcases and parties, or you can be on, more UK sort of focused events. So, you can go whichever way you want. Okay, so cost to attend, you're probably talking about £1,500 or so to attend South by Southwest Music as a delegate. Coming in with your basic costs covered. Okay, no promotion or marketing or anything like that. As you can see, interactive is a little bit cheaper. Film is a little bit cheaper again. That's the registration rates are a bit lower. And then platinum, which covers all 3 events, would come in around 2,700 for 5 days. If you want to come in on a more mid-budget stay at a better hotel, maybe downtown, you'd probably be talking around 2,000, 2,050 for music, up to 3,000 or so for platinum. And if you had money was no object, well, you could spend £5,000 to £7,000, no problem. deciding that South by, that this is the right time for you to think about South by, that decision time is around now. Okay, so you really need to be thinking and applying for South by Southwest in September if you're going to be serious about a showcase in 2011. And really it's about knowing that you've got enough of a head of steam under you and your career has sufficient momentum. I see South by Southwest as one part of an overall, US strategy or international strategy. So really having a bigger picture type thing. It's not about just going out there and seeing what happens, because really that's not the way to do it. Apply online now, and the way you do it is through Sonic Bids. And your Sonic Bids account is your electronic press kit. It's your CV online. It's professional. It's kept up to date. It's got the best that you have to offer. And South by will be checking that information quite regularly. So if you're missing something, update it. If you want to change something, change it. So we're looking for bands with momentum. We're looking for bands that have a reason to go to South by Southwest, that will do well, because when you do well, we look good. We look for bands with significant live experience and with the business infrastructure around them and, plans for South by Southwest. So that's all in your application. You need to explain and clarify that. November 5th is the cutoff point for applying. So, you sort of need to know by the time that of that deadline, that you plan to apply and that you can afford to go. All told, I think you're probably looking at a budget in and around £8,000. And, you need to look at that as an investment in your career. There may be funding that can help you, but your funding will never cover all of your costs. Okay, so you've applied and fantastically, you've gotten an invitation from South by Southwest. And we need you to respond to that as soon as you receive it. So you can't just kind of leave the invitation sitting in your inbox. You need to respond to the invitation without knowing when you're going to play, where you're going to play, or what time. Because South by only programs the event based on confirmed responses. So you'll need to keep the 4 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or 5 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, free. And then once you know when your showcase is, you can start to plug in some other things around it. Will I need a visa? The answer is yes. You're playing on a public stage in a public venue to which the public can pay in. And that's the kind of bottom line definition from the immigration point of view. South by has agreed with UKTI that we're going to issue invitations to UK artists from October 15th, which is before the deadline on November 5th. And that, I think, will help to give more lead time to address the issues of immigration and visas and productions and things like that. For artists, I do recommend that you talk to somebody and book a flight through, an agency, a travel agent that has some experience of working in the entertainment industry. You need flexibility, you need backup, you need extra baggage allowances, you need emergency numbers. It may not be the cheapest option, but believe me, it will be the one that will keep your mind sane. So we want your showcase experience to be a positive one, and we do ask that you consider the effect that playing other gigs may have on your showcase. However, we do realise that bands have the opportunity and want to have the opportunity to play other events at South by. So as long as they're daytime parties, you can't do any other nighttime stuff. There's a whole rake of unofficial events about which I know nothing and I care less, and I don't know who goes and I don't know why they go except for free drink and barbecue. So I can't recommend that you invest a lot of time and effort in those, but they do happen and bands do play. But really just to urge you to think strategically about the number of events and shows that you play, and not to wear yourselves out. The singer loses his voice, or the band is too tired to do a good show. By the time your showcase comes around, you may have blown it. And I have heard during this week of some bands that did exactly that.
Nuna mentioned the visas. Visas, I think you've got your own American Embassy office here in Belfast, so it makes life a little easier for you guys. If you are really set up to try and start and look at conquering the US as a market, you should maybe try and get a 12-month visa, because that way you're going to be, again, saving money. Hopefully you've got a long-term plan in place. It just shows you're a lot more professional when it comes to talking to different people. You might already have put some of the dates in and around South by Southwest. But the visa thing, yes, you can you can get away with it if you get under the radar and get in, but it is a risk. It's like anything, crossing any border to do something which effectively, in this case, would be considered to be illegal. If you get caught, you will be stopped, going back to the US for anything from 5 to 10 years, and that will be the end of it as a career.